In today's video, I am going to explain how do you prepare for your upcoming C&P exam, also known as a compensation and pension exam. Now, this video is for active duty service members and veterans alike. So if you're on active duty, you can use some of the information that I'm going to share with you today to help you be successful on your upcoming VA C&P exam. So make sure you stick around. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne Kimball, owner and founder of KMD89 VA Claims Consulting, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. Today's video: how do you prepare for your upcoming C&P exam? This is for veterans and active duty service members because some of the questions are going to be the same, okay? Now, before I get into today's video, make sure you go to my website, pick up my new book at www.kmd89.com, or you can pick it up on Amazon. So, how do you prepare for your C&P exam? Now, as a former VA rater, did I prepare for my first C&P exam? No. I had it after 1 year as a rater, and that was a huge mistake. So I'm going to explain some things that you could be doing so you don't make the same mistake that I made, sort of giving you the blueprint, okay? So what is the first thing that you want to do? When you get that phone call from QTC, LHI, VES services, and I'm only assuming that you didn't submit an actionable and sufficient DBQ and or Nexus, okay? So if you just filed a claim and you didn't submit a DBQ or Nexus, then they're going to schedule you for a C&P exam. So when you get that call from QTC, LHI, VES services, Optimum, or whomever, the first question you need to be asking: what conditions or exams am I being scheduled for? That is so important. A lot of veterans get that phone call, they're excited, maybe a little bit nervous, and they just show up and they have no clue what they're showing up for. So for example, if you claim PTSD and tinnitus, PTSD is going to be a mental exam, tinnitus is going to be an audio exam. So ask that person, hey, am I showing up for a mental exam or I'm showing up for an audio exam? Now, I did a video earlier this week where I talked about 2507 medical requests. If you didn't see that video, I'll link it to the end of this video and you can watch it, okay? Now, number two, when you confirm the conditions or exams that you're showing up for, go to the VA's website and you're going to find their DBQ link, okay? Their DBQs are public. Now they're public. Some veterans get them filled out by their own doctor. Most VA employees don't use them. And that's a huge concern amongst a lot of veterans, but that's for another video. Look over the DBQ. Now, let's just stick with PTSD and tinnitus, okay? Tinnitus, there's no test. They often give a hearing test, but it's not for tinnitus. Tinnitus is just basically, do you have ringing in the ears? I did a video where I explained how do you win your claim for tinnitus, which I will also link at the end of this video. So let's move over to PTSD. You go to the VA's website where they house the public DBQs and you review the DBQ, okay? And you're looking at the questions, okay? You don't have to memorize them, just look at them. And it also may not be a bad idea to take the DBQ with you. And I'll explain a little bit later, okay? Now that you've looked over the DBQ, you looked at some of the questions, or in this case, PTSD, you check the box of some of the symptoms you feel that you have, okay? So you're familiarizing yourself with some questions that's on the DBQ that the examiner could ask you, all right? Now, number 3, familiarize yourself with the diagnostic code. In my book, I talk about diagnostic codes. Our clients, they are familiar with diagnostic codes. You have to be. You just cannot go in these exams and say, let me just tell you my story. Or go into these exams thinking, oh, I'm just going to talk my way to 20 or 30 or 40%, and that examiner is going to feel some type of sorrow for me and just start checking all these boxes. It doesn't work that way, all right? So in this slide, I want to give you an example of a diagnostic code, okay? So the slide that I'm showing now is for migraines, okay? Diagnostic code 8100, migraines. Look at the 50%, look at the 30, look at the 10, look at the 0. Let's just take the 50% for example. It states with very frequent, completely prostrating and prolonged attacks productive of severe economic inadaptability. With very frequent, completely prostrating and prolonged attacks productive of severe economic inadaptability. So maybe you filed a claim for increase for migraines, secondary, or just a new claim. So if it's for migraines, you come here, you look at the diagnostic code criteria. Do you meet the 0? Do you meet the 10? Do you meet the 30? Do you meet the 50? If you meet the 50% criteria, that's what you're talking about on the exam, not the 0, 10, or 30. You familiarize yourself with that, okay? And I'm not saying not to be honest or truthful. If you feel you meet 30 or 50%, whatever percentage you think you meet, that's the percentage you talk about. Familiarize yourself with it, okay? And that's for each condition that you're going in for. Now, as I stated in number 2, when I talked about the DBQ, go to the VA's website. What you're going to do, you're going to print out or review the DBQ for migraines. So if the doctor misses a question, okay, you can bring it up at the end of the exam. All right, got another slide for you. Slide number 2. Now, this is from the VA's M21 manual reference. The previous slide, the diagnostic code 8100 is from the 38 CFR under the rating schedule. This is from the VA's M21 manual reference. Now, you heard me say for the 50% criteria, it stated completely prostrating, okay? So now, look at this. And what does it say? Prostrating and completely prostrating. Means extreme exhaustion or powerlessness with essentially total inability to engage in ordinary activities. Go out to the M21 manual reference. Look at this terminology. Familiarize yourself with it. Now, you would never know that reading the diagnostic code I showed in the previous slide, that the VA had definitions for prostrating and completely prostrating. There's even a definition for economic inadaptability. But you know now because I am telling you. This is how we educate our clients, okay? Being able to understand the information and how to apply it to what they're doing with their particular claim. You have to invest your time to get educated. This is your claim. You are the number one cheerleader for your claim. Nobody else. You, okay? So you have to do this for each condition. Now, not all conditions have a definition, okay? This one does, and I just want to show that one to you, okay? Now, the C&P exam is wrapping up. You've already talked about the diagnostic code. You already reviewed the DBQ. The doctor has already should have asked you a bunch of questions, right? At the end of the exam, that doctor 9 times out of 10 is going to say, is it anything you would like to add? Sure. You forgot, meaning the doctor, you forgot to ask me question number 28 or question number 12 on the DBQ, which states X, Y, and Z. All right. I hear all the time that veterans, my exam only lasted 5 minutes. My exam only lasts a couple of minutes. And I used to think, you know what? That examiner really kind of messed over the veteran. And they did. But then after I thought about it, I'm going to put it back on the veteran. And I may catch some flack for this, but after watching this video, and I even did a mock video with one of my employees before, that exam shouldn't last 2 or 5 minutes if you watched what I'm telling you today. Because if you do what I'm telling you today, that exam should be extended. And I know there's going to be some naysayers say, oh, you're going to piss the examiner off and this and that, this and that. You're holding them accountable. This is their job. Don't let them cheat you out of your time. You're just asking questions. You want to make sure that the playing field is level. How do you do that? Get educated. Have full transparency. Do some of the things that I'm suggesting. Okay? But at the end of the day, this is your claim. You don't have to do any of it. You can just go in there and say, let me tell you my story, roll the dice, and see how that plays out for you. All right? So I want you to be prepared, to be educated, and have full transparency as to what you're doing with your claim and how the VA claims process can impact it. So that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and don't forget to share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.